What's up, gamers, and hello YouTube. Today's video is all about the close range meta with Season 3 Reloaded. We got a huge update with buffs, nerfs, and more, but this also means we have a new meta. Close range meta is always really important because it's a make or break from basically any gunfight. The meta in close range is so much more important than the long range meta, so it's really important to have the right gun and the right build to help you out. Well, I got you guys today with 10 different builds for 10 different guns, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do appreciate me going through all of this data to help you guys out, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video where we discuss the long range meta. Without further ado, let's hop into some stats real quick, because it's important to note that even though the HRM got nerfed, it's still viable. But the biggest problem with the guns before the HRM got nerfed is that the HRM was so dominant at 610 milliseconds TTK that guns that were killing at like 680 felt awful, because that 70 milliseconds difference is a huge time inside of Warzone. But now the meta has shifted. The Striker 9 is the best SMG basically, and that means that the best SMG is now killing at 630 milliseconds. So if you're sitting at 690, instead of like having a 80 milliseconds or 70 milliseconds difference, we now have a reduced difference of 50 milliseconds or maybe 70. So that's awesome. A lot more guns are going to be viable now. A lot more guns are going to feel okay or fun to use, and that's really important to me. I've noticed this especially today because I was running around with the FJX Horus, which previously felt awful. Like I couldn't use it in some gun, like I couldn't use it in most of my games because my lobbies were too sweaty, but now it actually feels fun to use. Even against sweats, I'm sometimes coming away with the win with the FJX Horus if I play my cards right, and that's all super important to me in the game, because the game should be fun. You should be encouraged to use different guns, play around a little bit, especially on Rebirth Island when your life doesn't matter that much. I hope they keep this trend going and they maybe even like up the TTK to 650, because not only will that increase the skill gap, it will encourage people to use more and more variety guns, and that's all super fun, because like killing the same 3 people with the same 3 guns is just not fun. I want the game to look different, feel different every day that I hop on, so I want that variety. But yeah, without me rambling and yapping on, let's go into the numbers. The MCW right now, the BP50 and the Swarm all sit at around that 600 millisecond TTK still, and they are technically the meta guns. But the BP50, as soon as you hit limb shots, the TTK goes through the roof. Just look at the numbers. If you use leg shots, the TTK is going to be around 670. Now, that's not super important right now. The BP50 has a really good TTK, but it's a high skill, high reward kind of gun. The MCW, however, heals up to 20 meters super consistently, super accurately, and it's actually insane that it's so good. As for the Swarm, it kills really good within the first damage range, which is 6.3 meters. You can up that to like 9 meters, but after that the Swarm is a pea shooter. Now, important to note, on all 3 of these guns there's caveats. The BP50, you have to be super accurate. MCW and the BP50 use AR ammo, so if you're using an AR, you're actually gonna run out of ammo quite quickly. And then the WSP Swarm is an SMG that shoots so fast that you're gonna run out of ammo also. But with the Swarm you can put on the 100 rounds, which makes you slower, so it might not feel as fun to use, but it is a very consistent gun, and if you're clearing out buildings, this is the gun you want to have in your hand. Now at 630 we have the Renetti, the Striker 9, and the DG LSW, which is an LMG. And I know what you're thinking, an LMG on this list, what is he doing? But this LMG has an aftermarket part, and that turns it into the Groza from Cold War, and it's actually so much fun to use, and it actually feels like the old Groza as well. So definitely give it a go if you haven't already. It kills really fast around at 630, which is super meta, like viable. I was actually super surprised when I used this gun myself, and I had a lot of fun using it. Then the Rem 9 sits at 650, as well as the Striker, 2 really versatile guns. And then the WSP 9 comes in at 654, and that's about it. The HRM comes after at like 680 right now, which is still a really good TTK, but as you know, it's not going to be as consistent as the other guns that are on this list. Now, as for my rankings and the builds, let's hop over to those. Over here, my number 9 and number 10 spot are the HRM and the Renetti. The Renetti for me doesn't feel as consistent because it feels kind of slow, but the fire rate, the TTK, all of that speaks for itself. It's still really good, and I'm actually surprised not more people are running the Renetti because it's so good. And then I'm hopping over to the next gun, so take a screenshot if you want of any of those guns that are coming up. But here's the firing range on the Renetti. Bear with me guys, because I have been on for a long time today, editing, playing the game. But as you can see, this gun beams. Then the HRM. This one is probably a build that not a lot of people have used. The no stock, Lacerda compensator, edge hand stop, high grain round, and 50 round magazine. This is my go-to HRM. This is what I used in ranked. As you can see, it has a little kick in the beginning, but after that it calms down, becomes kind of solid. And if you use rotational aim assist, this gun is gonna beam for you. And even at that furthest range, you're gonna consistently hit your shots. HRM for me is my baby. I miss it already, but let's go on to my number 7 and number 8 spot. The Rem 9, which is the stray speed demon. This is the fastest stray speed in the game. As you can see, it also beams. Now I'm using the 40 round. If you guys are running quads, you might want to switch over to the 50 round. But to be honest, for me, the 40 round, that added like stray speed just feels so good. Again, take a screenshot if you haven't already. But let's hop over to the Striker. The Striker is actually the most versatile gun in the game because I ran the numbers and it actually kills faster than the MTZ 556, which is a top tier AR right now. It kills faster than the MTZ 556 at 60 meters. So if you would want to, you could like throw on a large suppressor. You could go high velocity or high grain, longest barrel, and make it into an AR. But that's not what we do here. This is for the close range, the medium range. And this basically has no recoil. If you don't like the iron sights, you can definitely swap that out. But I kind of got used to the iron sights and I don't mind it as much. So again, screenshot if you haven't already. Let's move on to number 5 and number 6. Number 5 is actually a gun that I tried out today, and I actually think this is my favorite gun to use myself. But in terms of TTK and ease of use, I have it in the middle of the pack because as you can see, it's really easy to shoot. And as you guys know, every bullet with this gun is a nuke. It shoots absolute missiles, 54 damage to the head, 46 to the upper torso, 42 to the legs and lower torso. So this gun is an absolute missile shooter. But the problem with the WSP9, unfortunately, is the open bolt delay. It slows down how fast the gun actually shoots the first bullet from the moment that you press the trigger. It's a slight delay that's usually only found on the LMGs in the game. For some reason, this SMG has it as well, which makes the TTK a little bit longer. Otherwise, this TTK would have been at like 600, which is insane because that would have been the meta. It actually kills faster than the HRM if you took out the open bolt delay on the WSP9. So that just puts it into perspective. But this gun is a lot of fun to use, and I think this might be one of my favorite guns to use after the Season Reloaded update. And then here we go, number 6, the Groza. A gun that I was super surprised by because it wasn't listed in the patch notes, but they did buff the aftermarket part on this gun. So if you want to, go to the DG58 LSW, put on the aftermarket part and try it out for yourself, because I had a lot of fun using this on Rebirth Island today, and I think you guys might as well. On to number 3 and 4. This is where it really starts to get competitive. Number 3 and 4. Let's start with number 4, the Striker 9. The best SMG in the game right now. Crazy movement speed. It's really snappy. Easy to use recoil. And this is the build. But the reason that I don't have it as my number 3 is because the BP50 is just too insane. The movement speed is insane. The damage per mag is insane with 60 rounds. It shoots missiles, really easy to use. It has technically the fastest movement speed in the game in terms of like a full SMG or full AR. This gun is the fastest moving gun in the game. I've tried my best with no stocks, with all the attachments that buff movement. I could not replicate a tac sprint that was faster than the BP50. So there you have it. This gun is totally built out for hipfire, by the way. Or not for hipfire, for sprint to fire, I should say. Because I want this gun to be as snappy as possible, because you're going to be tac sprinting at people, closing down the range. Because after the first damage drop off, which with the high grain rounds it's at 40 meters. After that 14 meters, the gun drops off heavily, so you want to use your AR after that range. And then finally, we've reached the end, number 1 and number 2. We start with number 2, the MCW Jack Raven Kid. And as you guys know, this gun is an absolute beam. It fries people up close, good range, and now the Jack Cutthroat is finally available on it. You actually have crazy strafe speed. As you can see, plus 15% to your ADS movement speed, which is totally insane, off the charts. But I'll show you guys in the firing range right now. The strafe speed is so nice. And if you can stand the iron sights, you can even throw on a different barrel, make the strafe speed even faster. And this strafe speed actually comes really close to the strafe speed on the Ram 9, which, as I said, is the fastest strafe speed in the game. This one actually comes kind of close. So definitely try out the MCW. If you haven't already, you're missing out. It's one of the best guns, super consistent. Unlike the BP50 where you had to like have a really high skill level to consistently win your engagements, the MCW is really easy to use, really user friendly, and a lot of fun as well. And then the most toxic meta, and I'm so surprised that nobody is running this right now, because it is absolutely insane. I'll bring up the stats one more time, because every time I look at it, it baffles my... These are the stingers. Throw on the rear grip a Kimbo, and here you go, a 440 millisecond TTK. This is a third of the MCW TTK on pistols, a Kimbo. I am so sorry to show this to the world, but this is absolutely insane. I already did a video on it last week, so if you haven't already, check that one out. I dropped 34 kills on Rebirth Island, an absolute clinical game with these stingers. And I'm so surprised nobody's running it, because here you can see at 20 meters, the TTK is 600 milliseconds. This is the meta SMG TTK at 20 meters. This gun is absolutely insane. If you haven't already, try it out. Obviously, with a Kimbo, you're not gonna shoot at 20 meters. You're most likely gonna use it up to like 12 meters, and after that, you don't want to use it. This is the build, guys. If you're gonna screenshot anything today, this is the one you want to screenshot. We use the barrel for further damage range. Reach your device helps with our max hip fire spread. You want to close down the max as much as you can, because that's when you're moving, when you're jumping, when you're sliding. That's like your biggest hip fire spread. You want that to be as narrow as possible, and then you focus on your hip fire spread min, which is when you're standing still. A 32 round, and of course a laser to help you out with the same thing. Up close, this is the most toxic, most insane loadout that you can ever run. If you haven't already, like and comment and subscribe. I'll be back this week with another video on the long range meta. I'm gonna really look at the numbers and try to figure out what guns are viable, what guns feel better than they statistically are, and what guns are worse than they statistically are, because there's a couple of them. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Cheers.